June 28th, 2025. Here it is, Saturday, late morning, almost lunchtime. And who's with me here? Hello, Andrusha.
Hey.
So, where are we going right now?
To the dacha?
We are going to the dacha. So, while we're driving to the dacha, I thought I would interview you. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
I'm fine with it.
All right. So, Andrusha, first question. Tell me, how long have you been living in Khabarovsk?
I've been living here in Khabarovsk for 5 years now. I came here on April 12th, 2020.
Wait a minute. I came here in May 2022. So, how is it that you're living in Khabarovsk 25 months before me? How's that?
So, back in 2020, we were living together as a family in South Korea.
Okay.
When COVID struck, we were forced to go back to the countries of our passports.
Right.
Meaning that you were forced to go back to Canada and Mao was forced to go back to Russia.
Okay.
Vanya and I had a choice whether we can come with you or with Mao.
So you guys were like part of a Venn diagram. You guys kind of had the middle part. You could go either way.
Yeah, we could go either way.
Yeah.
We didn't know how long exactly this was going to be, so we figured...
Who knew? Yeah.
So we figured, okay, let's go with Mao.
Right. And that's how you ended up in Russia 25 months before I arrived.
Exactly.
Well, it's shaping up to be a nice day. We're going to our dacha and traffic seems fairly light right now. It's kind of weird. Usually it would be a little bit more congested, but I guess everybody's trying to stay away from the heat. Well, speaking of the heat, Andrusha, can you tell me what's the weather forecast for today?
So for today, there is 0 chance or just 1 or 2% chance of rain.
Okay.
So today is just gonna be all sunny. For the temperature, right now it is 32 degrees. It's gonna peak at 5 or 6 o'clock with 35 degrees.
35 degrees in Khabarovsk? 35 degrees Celsius? Wow.
Yeah, 35 degrees.
That is warm. Wow. So we're gonna be actually barbecuing today.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm looking forward. Yeah, we got the meats. We are bringing... Actually, what are we taking to the barbecue?
We're taking shashlik and wings.
Right, right. Oh, and potatoes.
Yeah,
we're going to be also frying up some potatoes. Okay, back to the interview. Well, let's talk about the school system. So you were in the South Korea school system, and now you're in the Russian school system. Can you give us a little bit of insight? Compare them, maybe the pros and cons of each system.
The pros and cons, you say?
Yeah.
So, let's start with the design of the school itself.
Okay.
Most of the schools in South Korea are these modern buildings with colorful designs. Meanwhile, in Russia, schools are mostly just gray boxes.
Okay. Okay. What about, is there the same type of a lunch program in Russian schools as there was in South Korean schools?
Well, the lunch program itself, yeah, there's a lunch program both in South Korea and Russia, at least as far as I know. But when it comes to the contents of the lunch itself, it varies a lot.
So, can you give me an example of the kind of food that you eat in a Russian school lunch program?
In a Russian school lunch program, I'd eat buckwheat with...
So buckwheat is grechka, right?
Yeah, buckwheat or mashed potatoes or rice.
Okay. Well, that's pretty healthy.
Just a kind of a carb. It will be usually topped with some kind of a meat. Sometimes it will be...
a mystery meat like Spam?
No, sometimes it would be liver.
Oh.
Yeah, they serve liver here. I don't really like it.
Yeah.
Or they could serve up some chicken, some pork, some beef. I don't know, because I haven't eaten a lunch in a Russian school for quite some time.
Okay, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, because I eat lunch at home.
Do they do it like liver and onions or just boiled? Or?
No, I think it would just be a liver patty.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, at least as far as I remember.
Right.
They would also serve it with some soup. Sometimes it would be borscht. Sometimes it would be chicken noodle soup. Sometimes it would be rasolnik, which is pickle soup.
Yeah.
It would be served up with some compot, mors.
Wait a minute. Compot. What's compot?
Compot is a drink that...
Like a fruit juice, a homemade, homemade style fruit juice.
Let's just say when you boil apricots, when you boil apples.
Okay.
Basically, boiled fruits.
Right.
With sugar.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's move on to free time. Tell me, Andrusha, what do you do in your free time?
Well, in my free time, I usually go to the gym and work out.
Okay.
I cook sometimes.
Okay.
But most of the time, I just explore the city.
Explore the city in terms of like what do you mean by explore the city?
I just walk around, walk to places where I've never been before.
Okay. Okay. Such as?
Most of the times, I would just go to Brosco Mall, which is 4 kilometers away.
Do you take the bus there, or how do you get there?
Only if I'm really tired or I need to get home really fast, but usually I walk there and back.
Aren't you afraid, like, you know, that might be dangerous?
No, it's pretty safe out here.
So you figure Khabarovsk is a pretty safe city, right?
Yeah, especially when you stick to the main roads.
Okay, okay. So Andrusha, in your adventures of walking around and exploring the city, have you ever been stopped by the police?
No, not at all. You're more likely to be stopped by the police and questioned if you're walking alone as a minor after 10 p.m.
Okay.
You know, in the middle of the night.
Right. Well, I guess that would be pretty much the same in Canada, you know.
Yeah, they just do a wellness check, like, hey kid, are you lost? Are you okay?
Right. Right. Okay. So, Andrusha, can you tell me, is there anything about the city of Khabarovsk that you do not like?
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of those old Soviet-style gray buildings, because in my opinion, the design is just boring and gray.
Okay, okay.
But, however, many modern-looking apartments are being built, so at least there's an upside to it.
Okay, so they don't... The style is changing. It doesn't have this...
Yeah, the style is slowly changing.
Right. So, Andrusha, you mean like a building like this we're looking at?
Yeah, a building like this.
Okay, kind of boring.
Yeah, of course it wasn't built for a good design or for the comfort of it. No, it was built because they were in a hurry.
Right, and this one right here on the right side, that's the modern style.
Yeah, and these apartments are being built pretty quickly.
Right, so these ones right here, these are called Khrushchevki. So yeah, they are kind of boring. Four-story. Yeah, they are boring looking. And then just coming up over here, there's the more modern ones. You can see it right at the center of your screen. These ones right here looks like they were made in the 90s probably. Maybe late 80s. Still kind of boring. Okay, but yeah, right there. That's a nice big apartment building. Yeah, more modern. And then you got these. This looks like some sort of an old factory. Yeah, kind of gray, white. Just, oh well. So, Andrusha, how often do you see Russian vehicles on the streets here in Khabarovsk?
So, I almost never see those stereotypical boxy Russian Zhiguli type cars.
Okay.
But
a lot of cars, yeah.
But I do see some Ladas, just the more newer models that look identical to the Japanese or imported cars.
Uh-huh.
But We do see a lot of Japanese cars here, but I see Chinese cars more and more often as time passes.
Well, actually, we're in a Chinese car right now.
Yes,
okay, so they even have a tram system here. There's a tram. Andrusha, how often do you ride on a tram?
Well, while the tram is pretty convenient because it goes deep into the southern and the northern districts, but I usually prefer to walk to my destinations, so I don't usually use a tram.
Right. So earlier we were talking about Russian vehicles, and this could be anywhere USA or anywhere Canada in terms of vehicles. I don't see any Russian vehicles. That's the thing. I see Toyotas, I see Hondas. Here's a Honda right in front of us. I see a Nissan right in front of us. I haven't seen a Chinese vehicle. But this is our Chinese vehicle right here that we're on. We're on a Cherry. There we go. Cherry Tiggo Pro Max 7. Here's more of these old Khrushchevki, boring. Okay. And we are heading in a southerly direction. This is called the Southern District. So we're going towards our dacha. And right along the road here, you have these Khrushchevki. These 4-story apartment buildings. Yeah. They're kind of boring. But there are new ones that are being built. And this building over here always gets me. This pink and yellow. It's some sort of a government building. What does it say? Центр медицинских комиссий.
Yeah, this is where you get all the medical permits you need to get a job, to get some other permits, and the list.
They even have a billboard sign right there.
Yeah, they got 2 of them.
Oh, there's one right here.
I wonder if they do medical permits.
So, Andrusha, we're sitting here in our SUV and we're going through a dacha. We got the aircon on. It's pretty hot outside, but in the winter time, it does get pretty cold out here. Can you tell me what the winter months are like, and do you enjoy the winters here in Khabarovsk?
Well, the winters tend to get pretty cold here in Khabarovsk, especially when you consider all the wind that's coming from up north. I remember a couple of years back, I think it was sometime in January 2021.
Okay.
We had a temperature of minus 40 degrees Celsius.
That's cold.
Which is what's also equal to in Fahrenheit. So minus 40 Fahrenheit.
Wow. That is cold.
Yeah.
But you dress for it, right?
But as long as you prepare for it, you're not going to struggle too much.
That's true. Okay. And how long does the cold season, I guess if you want to call it, like at what month does it start getting cold below 0, and in what months does the weather turn and it starts getting warmer?
Well, the whole temperature starts going down below 0 or below 32 in Fahrenheit is in November.
Okay. So October is still
the first The first snow is usually somewhere at the end of October.
Okay.
Yeah. But the temperatures tend to go up from below 0 or from 32 degrees. I think it's somewhere in April, I want to say.
Okay.
Maybe not April, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later, but somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay. Well, look at this. Here is what's called kakavozik. And Andrusha, what is a kakavozik?
Well, these kakavoziks, which isn't the official name, they transport sewage from buildings.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where they take it, but they take it.
Well, Andrusha, thank you for the interview, and it's great to hear your insights and your answers to the questions.
You're welcome.
All right. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Leave a comment, smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber, it's free. It doesn't cost anything, right, Andrush?
No, nothing.
Right. All right. And Andrush, what do I always say at the end of my videos?
Paka, paka.
That's right. Paka, paka.